If you or a loved one suffers from cognitive decline, conditions like mild cognitive impairment or Alzheimer's disease, then you do not want to miss this information. Doctors Tom and Stephanie Chaney from Living Health Integrative Medicine are here to share amazing progress in the field of cognitive decline and Alzheimer's care. Welcome back to Great Day.
Thank you.
Dr. Steph, I want to start with you. It's interesting to find out what's new in the world of cognitive decline and Alzheimer's care.
Well, in order to talk about what's new, we really have to take a step back in history and look at where we've been coming from. And the past 30+ years of Alzheimer's research and Alzheimer's treatment has been geared towards trying to find one cause of the disease and then trying to treat that cause with one drug. And unfortunately, 30 years later, we're finding that none of it has been working. And so ultimately, most of the conventional care around Alzheimer's is really supportive care while the patient declines and ultimately succumbs to the disease. Having said that, just in the last few years, some research has come out that is extremely promising, and that we are actually seeing a complete change in the narrative for the first time as far as Alzheimer's and cognitive decline goes. And we're able to now implement strategies and protocols that can effectively reverse cognitive decline and early Alzheimer's disease, as well as prevent it 20 to 30, 40 years before it would ever become that in the first place.
It sounds really interesting, Dr. Tom. So when we talk about the word reverse, are you talking about symptomatic improvement or actually reversing the impairment?
What's really exciting is we're actually seeing both. We're seeing improvements subjectively and objectively. So patients are noticing subjective improvements like, of course, memory returning. They're able to read, they're able to organize, they're able to plan, they have motivation again. So we're seeing all these subjective improvements, but we also, which is really key, is we're seeing objective changes on tests. So we're able to look and see on volumetric testing to actually see brain growth and actually measure that.
Wow. Now this sounds exciting because my understanding, and I'm sure for many others, is that these conditions, they decline over time. The person in their brain declines. But this isn't the case. How is this possible?
Well, traditionally, the treatment has been geared towards prescribing a medication to try to inhibit plaquing of the brain. Everyone thought that plaques in the brain was causing the Alzheimer's. And what it turns out is the plaquing is really a defense mechanism that the brain has, is trying to protect itself from many different things that could potentially be attacking it or causing the brain to shrink. And so the difference in what we're doing now is based on some research that was published out of UCLA in 2014, and the results of almost 2,000 people being put through these amazing protocols that actually help reverse cognitive decline with a 93% success rate. What we're finding is there's not one single cause to Alzheimer's, and that's why this approach up until now has never worked. In fact, we're talking about a potential of 37 different reasons or causes for the brain shrinkage. And so now what we're able to do is look for those things, try to figure out what's causing the brain to shrink, and then eliminate or fix or correct those imbalances in the body, and the brain is actually able to come back to life again.
Dr. Tom, what specific conditions are a good fit for this new treatment approach?
Yeah, so you have to understand that cognitive impairment is a broad spectrum. So we've got pre-Alzheimer's, and then we have Alzheimer's. So at the beginning stages, we have SCI, or subjective changes. So the patient is starting to actually notice changes themselves. Like they get to the bottom of a page and they didn't remember what they read. There's names that they should know, but they just can't quite get those names. And so that's the beginning stages. Then they move into MCI, so that's mild cognitive impairment. And this is when other people around you start noticing the changes. There's many different types of changes. And then they progress into early stage Alzheimer's. So stages 1 through 3, those make good candidates. Unfortunately, there are certain subjects and patients that progress too far into Alzheimer's before they get to us that unfortunately they just don't make good candidates for this protocol.
And Dr. Steph, what is the process for these patients who are a good fit to getting through this treatment and this new approach?
Well, the first process is really learning what's behind this approach and what the general protocols are and how we differ from the conventional approach that's been going on up until now. And so educational seminar is really the first place to come. We do free seminars to educate the public on the potential causes for cognitive decline. And if you're a good candidate, one of the initial things that we would do is order what's called a volumetrics MRI, which is a very simple, painless test to go through, very easy. And that is the MRI that allows us to assess almost 40 different areas of the brain compared to your age for the volume of those areas, which can be a very important step to us trying to figure out what is behind the shrinkage of the brain in the first place, and also can help us stage a person and diagnose potential for Alzheimer's 20, 30, 40 years in advance.
What does a success story look like, Dr. Tom?
Yeah, so we've had a patient that recently came to us and was noticing changes in herself. So she was noticing that she just wasn't as motivated, energy is gone, just not as sharp. And so just 6 weeks into the program, she's noticed those changes. She's noticed more improvement. She's noticed that she's sharper. She's noticed that she has that motivation, and she's noticing many of these cognitive improvements that we've seen so many patients show.
Well, it sounds promising. Thank you for coming and sharing.
You're welcome.
Well, for more information, call 240-865-1871 or visit www.getmybrainback.com to see if you qualify to attend Dr. Chaney free informational event and seminar called The End of Cognitive Decline. The first event is this evening, September 18th in Annapolis. And the next event is on September 29th at noon in Annapolis. That number again is 240-865-1871, or you can visit www.getmybrainback.com to see if you qualify to attend this free informational event on reversing mild cognitive impairment or early Alzheimer's disease.